Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Community Report. I am Dairo. Every society presents both opportunities and challenges, but for people living with disabilities, the struggle for equal access remains a persistent issue. Yet, despite these barriers, trailblazers across various fields are redefining what's possible and challenging the status quo. Also, there are individuals dedicated to empowering others, ensuring no one is left behind. In this episode, we spotlight this remarkable individual, celebrating their achievement, exploring their unique skills, and understanding the motivations that drive them, as well as the challenges they overcome every day.
From the 23-year-old prosthetist,
but I couldn't find myself in what I wanted to do. But I just okay, this is like a paramedical field. Let me just go into this, and I find myself I find it more interesting to do.
To the man who led the state disability affairs, a tech guru driving assistive technology for the blind.
So on your computer, you use the caps lock, which is your NVDA key, plus caps lock plus F.
And Paralympians who continue to develop themselves without limit. This series captures stories of grit and resilience. In Nigeria, the population of persons with disabilities, also known as PWDs, is significant, with estimate varying due to differing data collection methods. The World Health Organization's 2011 World Disability Report estimated that about 15% of Nigerian population, or roughly 25 million people, have a disability. More recent data from 2018 Nigeria Demographic and Health Survey indicates that 7% of household members aged 5 and above have some level of difficulty in at least one functional domain, such as seeing, hearing, communication, cognition, walking, or self-care. PWDs frequently encounter barriers in accessing healthcare, education, and employment. For instance, less than 2% of PWDs are employed in the formal sector, and access to education is similarly low, with less than 2% having the opportunity to receive an education. We caught up with Dairo, a creative writer and social activist. He has worked as a general manager of the Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs, LASUDA. It says persons with disabilities are more likely to experience adverse socioeconomic outcomes.
Let me give you the background of inclusion, really. When the SDG took off, because the whole essence of the SDG is eradicating poverty, and according to World Bank, 80% of people affected by chronic poverty are among persons with disability. So you cannot be serious that you want to eradicate poverty and you are not being particular, intentional, and consistent across board about that catchment of society that are more affected. So because of that, the issue of disability took a front burner in the SDG. Not only does it have a standalone goal, it also has a component in all the SDG, all the other goals, except maybe a few, like ocean, health, and all of that. So that's to tell you how vital it is. But you see here, it will interest you that since our democracy journey started, the disability bill only got signed into law at the federal level with the second tenure of President Muhammad Buhari. So you can see we're just starting actually. Good enough, Lagos State had started about 10 years before then, and Lagos State, of course, had recorded a lot of policy advances, even ahead of the federal government. In spite of that, I could still say we still have a whole long way to go. Essentially, primarily because of that, our orientation. When we talk about disability, the primary thing people think about is let's help the less privileged, as they always say, the less privileged. You know, it's good, after all, they are the most affected by poverty. But reality, people with disability don't have poverty in their DNA, right? That poverty is a result of factors inherent prevailing in society.
There are systemic barriers faced by PWDs in Nigeria. Dairo is calling for effective implementation of inclusive policies. He says societal change are crucial to ensuring that persons with disabilities can fully participate and contribute to all aspects of Nigerian society.
Pregnant people, elderly, who still have a whole lot to contribute, may be denied the opportunity just because we fail to have a proper understanding of inclusion of persons with disability. So if that is serious, with those few rare class of people, so imagine a majority of people with disability who are just regular people who are looking for an opportunity, but have been denied, have been cut out of the race just because our environment is not accessible, not because they could not have contributed. So until we begin to see issue of disability beyond that, and what that will entail is that when we begin to see disability in that perspective, we now begin to see issue of inclusion as it affects our housing policies, our approval for the physical, for the standards in our physical planning, and our education, right? Basically in transport, in health, access to health, and all of that. That is when we may begin the real journey. And people will tell me that, oh, because there's so much poverty, people are hungry, that's a long way to go. But the thing is, everybody will agree that you can't have enough to provide as charity for everybody, right? And if you go by the Pareto principle, that is a 20% that will give you the 80% of the result. And that 20% is that accessibility you provide, that you can employ and empower those who are really ready and willing, that can begin. A whole lot of persons with disability can be employers of labor, given the prevailing environment, resources, and opportunity. You understand, rather than even being job seekers. So if you can focus on that catchment, without ignoring the rest, focus on that catchment, you'll be releasing a lot of resources, making a lot of examples to even motivate and challenge those who may have given up to charity, that they too can do something. You understand? So everybody, so once we can begin to look at it from that perspective, we stand a whole lot more chance to create a more win-win, a greater win-win, both for government, for the private sector, for civil society, and particularly persons with disability themselves. One of the areas I see as low-hanging fruit is government to see the issue of disability and inclusion as an all-encompassing affair, beyond the tokenism of, okay, now you have an agency and all of that. It's beyond that. It must be an all-encompassing thing. What is our inclusion policy in education, even in tourism? For example, would you just think for a while, if Lagos State's official tourist website, which I think would be one of the default points of reference for any traveler, tourist coming to Lagos, has a hotel rating, which is based on safety, access to disability. If Lagos State were to have that kind of rating on their website, do you think Lagos will need to start running around the hotels to come and rent? No, they will come. And once you give them this standard, willingly on their own, they will go back and comply. And by that, what are you doing? Beyond the stick and gun approach to policy implementation, you have ingrained self-interest of the stakeholder. So they will go back on their own and redesign, make their environment accessible. And by so doing, what will you will end up creating more job opportunities for persons with disability in those spaces. The environment will more quickly become accessible, and truly Lagos will become a global standard in terms of universal access design. Everywhere will be more accessible for persons with disability. So we need to start. That's one thing, one of the low-hanging fruits we need to start doing. You understand? And it takes a lot of orientation. It takes a lot of a little bit adjustment, policy tweaks here and there. So that's important.
People with disabilities in Nigeria participate in sports through organizations like Special Olympics Nigeria, the Paralympic Athletic Sports Federation, and Nigeria's amputee national football team. We spent some time with these professional tennis players, some of whom have represented Nigeria at the highest level of sports for people with disability.
Sydney 2000 double Paralympic gold medalist, Tokyo 2021 bronze medalist.
Tajudeen Agunbiade is a Nigerian Paralympian who has made the country proud on the global scene.
Yeah, I started as a teenager when I was in primary school in Surulere, Methodist Primary School. From there I proceeded to the high school in Baja Boys High School in 1994, and afterwards I moved into sport fully, started participating in local tournaments and international tournaments, and I started bringing laurels back home. My experience has been so good. I've played in virtually all tournaments abroad, and I've also played in a British League in UK, where we came first with the club that I represent, London Progress Table Tennis Club of England. And back home, I've won local tournaments on so many occasions, the National Sports Festival, the national tournaments, and so on and so forth. There is ability in disability. I don't let that to bring me down. I had polio when I was small, and I grew up with it, and afterwards started going for a rehab when I was small, and after that anyway, I didn't let that one to bring me down psychologically and mentally. Yeah, the challenges I faced when I was growing up with the polio was I was discriminated against. When I was in primary school, I was not allowed to participate in any sports engagement while I was in primary school. So that was the challenges that I had when I was growing up with polio. I discovered my talent when I was in local in my suburb in Lagos here in Surulere. I discovered my talent while I was playing on a bench. An admirer took me from there down to stadium to come and showcase my talent. Afterward, I started coming to the stadium on my own while I was small, but I didn't let that one to bring me down. So I pray to God that I'm someone now to be reckoned with in table tennis. I just believe that when I go for tournament, I have to come back home with laurel. I have to win medal. That is my priority.
Disability sports in Nigeria are gaining prominence and play a vital role in the lives of persons with disabilities. Tajudeen Agunbiade says there's been a decline in the performance of Nigerian athletes on the global stage.
The society needs to be enlightened about disability sports, and at the federal level, Federal Ministry of Sports, they also treat us badly. Let me just use badly in the sense that when it comes to attending tournaments, approving money for tournaments, we're being sidelined. Not too long that we've been reckoned with the achievement that we've achieved in international tournaments. So the society needs to be more enlightened. Yes, as it is now, the National Sports Commission needs to invest more in para sports at the Paralympics, and because at the Paralympic level, the sport is declining day to day, and they need to invest more. Because, for example, at the last Paralympic Games, we came back with just 2 gold medals. Unlike before that, we used to come back with 10 gold medals. So it's declining. They need to invest more in Paralympics events.
Femi Alabi, another talented Nigerian para table tennis player known for his participation in the sport at the Paralympic level, including events in Sydney 2000 Paralympic Games. He also shares his stories.
So far, so good. I started representing Nigerian since 1999. Was my South Africa Olympic qualifying for the Sydney 2000 was my first outing for Nigerian Paralympics, where I came 3 gold, 1 silver. After I went to Australia, where I also came a gold and a bronze. After I went for all this championship in Rotterdam in 2006, I think, yes, where I came a gold and a silver as well, World Championship. So I've been in so many competitions. Before, I used to box when I was young, life lightweight to the bantamweight. So I was in Osun State then anyway. So I discovered this table tennis talent when I was in primary school. So my first competition is school sports in 1988, where I came silver and a bronze then. So that's how I discovered my talent, that I can be a good table tennis player. Before I switch, I remember when I was in a sports festival in Makurdi in 1996. Actually came to box. I boxed, I won a silver medal, and I switched over at the same time to play a para table tennis, where they discovered me that I can be representing the country. So I came a gold and a silver as well there. So that's why I dropped this boxing for the table tennis, because of my polio disability. That is when I was maybe 1 year old or 2 years old, according to my parents. So once I discovered, then A national coach to the boxing federation advised me to stop because in the future the leg will not allow me to move further in the boxing. So that is the reason why I quickly switch to tennis and concentrate. You know, in boxing, there's no disabled in boxing because you move around, you understand me, and you throw punch. So if you don't have a stability on the ground, you fall down easily. We go around the world, we meet our colleagues, we know their condition. It's not like that here in Nigeria. Fine, we understand this is Africa. We need to adapt to whatever conditions. Some people will come, some people will go. We don't understand that. We're just pleading to the government to put just a little more concentration on Paralympians, because that is where Nigeria used to get their gold medal when it comes to Olympics. So, you know, going there and coming back to Nigeria, family and friends focus on you like, okay, fine, this guy is up there, and when he comes back with big, you understand, but it doesn't happen like that anymore. I can remember Sydney 2000, where I came good with my colleagues that just left here now. It's just an handshake. And other sports get reward for their own. The same Olympics, athletics, they got reward for their good medal. Why Paralympian doesn't get anything? Like Minister of Sports, we can just play into him just to at least to put a little more concentration on Paralympics generally, because here we are in Nigeria and we lack of many things. Look at where we train compared to the other countries. This is far behind. Nigerian Paralympic Games is, I will first of all mention a player called Atodamusa. He was my mentor. Then I watched him on the TV and I saw the way he moves around, and Yomi Bankole, and I developed my interest in them, and this thing I can also play it like them. So I used to watch them on TV. Then when I was playing my outside board, like one day, if I put my effort, at least they will know me like they need them. So my first outing from Osun State was here, Coca-Cola. Then I was like, wait a minute, this is the man I was watching on the TV playing, and I'm participating in the same competition. That is how, I developed my yes.
So far, how would you see yourself? Because again, people who are watching will be like, oh, these guys achieved their goals.
Well, this is how it is to the world, but we know what is going on in the game. Fine. This game motivates me, to moving around the world, which I'm very okay. I'm glad with it. You understand? Because I believe in my family, maybe I'll be the first person, to start moving around the world. You understand me? That's one alone keeps me moving like, okay, this game I can become a good person in life.
Despite success of disability sports in Nigeria, people with disability face many barriers such as lack of awareness, limited opportunities for participation, lack of accessible transportation, lack of equipment, limited space and facilities, limited access to information and resources.
And that's our show for today, everyone. If you miss any part of it, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. You can also follow the conversation on our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you very much for watching. I am Dairo. See you next time, and bye for now.